question is, do we have enough for the sluice? What do you think? That's it. That'll do it. We got white water.
When Todd Hoffman shocked everyone by leaving Gold Rush and starting his own show called Hoffman Family Gold,
we're about ready to fire up, okay? All right. Drop some dirt in here, watch the tailings, and you're gonna have to feed him pay. All right. Okay?
fans couldn't believe it. For years, he hunted for gold in the wild, risking everything with his family and crew. But then, out of nowhere, he announced he was done, leaving viewers wondering why he'd give up now. What could possibly be bigger than chasing gold on Gold Rush? Tune in, because Todd's new plan is more surprising than anyone could have imagined, and it will cause a war in the reality TV world. Striking gold or losing it altogether. The name alone should tell you a lot. He's no fool. He knows his brand, and he knows how to keep the cameras rolling. Instead of standing shoulder to shoulder with other miners on Gold Rush, he decided to focus on the people closest to him, his family. And let's be real, it's a bold move. Not just because the family dynamics are bound to bring a truckload of drama, but also because his track record with gold isn't exactly sparkling. If anything, Hoffman Family Gold is him doubling down on what didn't quite work the first time, but with a more personal twist. No longer is it about showing the other guys who's boss. It's about trying to wrangle gold with Dad and his son, an effort that feels like it's either going to be touching or totally chaotic.
You know, my dad came home one day and he said, hey son, we're gonna go gold mining, okay? And this is, I was about 14 years old. And sure enough, we put the equipment together, got a claim, and away we went. That's how it all started, my dad's dream.
Before we delve into this, it's clear that Todd's choice is far riskier than anyone could have imagined. And this won't be the only twist that will leave you speechless. What makes this new venture interesting is the rawness of it. The show's formula is familiar: hardship, setbacks, and the promise of that shiny gold payoff. But it's laced with family drama, generational tension, and a bit of stubbornness. Jack Hoffman, his dad, isn't exactly the quiet, go-with-the-flow kind of guy. He's got opinions, and he's not afraid to let his son know when he's screwing up. Add Hunter, his son, into the mix, the next-gen Hoffman with a different view of how to tackle things, and you've got a recipe for either inspiration or complete dysfunction. And that's what makes Hoffman Family Gold entertaining. It's not just about digging dirt. It's about digging through all the messy family baggage that comes with it. You can't help but wonder what his real plan is. I mean, he walked away from Gold Rush, the show that put his name out there, to create something that, frankly, looks a lot like more of the same, just with fewer people to blame when things go sideways. Maybe that's what he wanted, though. More control, fewer cooks in the kitchen.
You know, I really feared going into it because, you know, we're obviously undercapitalized. And I just thought to myself, you know, there's probably not too many idiots like us about ready to go mining right now, and let alone anybody that put it on frickin' television.
Maybe he got tired of the show's producers telling him what would make good TV and decided he'd rather fail on his own terms than succeed on someone else's. There's something commendable about that. Reckless, maybe, but commendable. After all, he's always been that guy who'd rather chase a crazy dream and fall flat on his face than wonder, what if? Now let's talk about the gold, the elusive, glittering metal that's driven men to madness for centuries. He has had a love-hate relationship with gold, mostly because it's been a lot more hate than love. The number of times he's been on the edge of striking it rich, only to have it all crumble in his hands. It's almost like the gold has a personal vendetta against him. But there he is again, out in the wilderness, believing that this time will be different. This time, he's got his dad and his son by his side, and maybe, just maybe, that's the hidden ingredient he's been missing all along. Or maybe it's just another layer of complexity that'll make the inevitable setbacks even more painful. There's something about the optimism of the Hoffman family that's almost laughable. It's like watching someone keep betting on red, even though blacks come up 12 times in a row. But that's what makes him such a fascinating character. He's got this mix of delusion and determination that's rare. He's fully convinced that he can beat the odds, even though those odds have repeatedly knocked him down. And honestly, it's that very belief That unwavering faith that this time it will work, that keeps viewers glued to the screen. We want to see if he can do it. We want to know if, against all logic, he might finally pull it off. One of the more entertaining aspects of Hoffman Family Gold is watching how he navigates working with family. Mining is already stressful. Add in the fact that you're working with your dad, who's got years of experience and isn't shy about telling you when you're wrong, and your son, who's young, ambitious, and has a totally different approach, and you've got a powder keg ready to blow. His role isn't just that of a miner. He's the glue trying to hold it all together. It's a balancing act, keeping the peace, making the right calls, and trying not to let the weight of their expectations crush him. As Todd's family steps in, old arguments and new ideas come up, making them face more than just the dirt in front of them. Old school wisdom meets new ideas. And let's not forget Jack Hoffman, the patriarch of the family. He's been in the game longer and has the scars to prove it. Jack's approach is old school. He's seen it all and has his way of doing things. Sometimes that clashes with his son's ideas. The tension between father and son is palpable, and it adds a layer of depth to the show that you didn't quite get with Gold Rush. There's a sense that he is not only trying to strike gold for himself, but also to prove to his dad that he's capable, that all these years haven't been for nothing. It's that classic father-son dynamic, a mix of respect, frustration, and the desire for approval. Hunter, on the other hand, brings in a whole new perspective. He's the next-gen Hoffman, not bogged down by the failures of the past in the same way his dad is. Hunter's got energy, and he's got ideas. But those ideas don't always align with his dad's vision. Watching Hunter and his father butt heads is both entertaining and relatable. It's the age-old story of a dad trying to pass down what he knows and a son trying to carve out his own path. Hunter doesn't just want to follow in his dad's footsteps, he wants to lead, and that's bound to create fireworks. The big question that looms over Hoffman Family Gold is whether his optimism is misplaced. He's failed before, many times in fact, and yet here he is, putting everything on the line again. There's a kind of reckless bravery in that, but there's also a nagging feeling that maybe he's just chasing ghosts. Gold mining is a tough business. It's unpredictable, ruthless, and it doesn't care how much you want it. His faith is unwavering, but at what point does faith turn into foolishness? That's what makes the show so compelling. It's not just about whether they'll find gold, it's about whether he can finally prove that his belief wasn't misplaced.
I was just trying to think outside the box and try to get as much gold as we can, and probably was not a good idea. We're already tired. Things are already going wrong, and let's be honest, this season, I'm still trying to find the good in it, and I'm looking for the good.
This path in Hoffman Family Gold is more than just a mining venture. It's about family, resilience, and the pursuit of something bigger. But there's also a sense of desperation beneath it all. He's got a lot riding on this. His reputation, his family's faith in him, and his own sense of worth. He's made big promises before, and he's let people down. This time, it feels like there's more at stake. It's not just about striking it rich. It's about redeeming himself, about showing his dad, his son, and himself that all the sacrifices have been worth it. There's a part of you that can't help but root for him. Sure, he's made mistakes, plenty of them, but he's got heart. He's not afraid to put himself out there, to take the risk even when everything points to failure. That's rare, and it's why people keep watching. Whether he's standing triumphant over a mountain of gold or walking away empty-handed once again, his story is one of relentless hope. It's messy, it's flawed, but it's real. And that's what keeps us coming back, to see if maybe, just maybe, this time will be the time he finally strikes it rich. The risks that come with mining aren't just about losing money or time. There's also the risk of losing hope, losing faith in oneself, and disappointing those you care about. For him, every decision is amplified because his family is right there with him, watching and participating. They aren't just mining for gold, they're mining for redemption, validation, and proof that all the setbacks and sacrifices mean something.
I think we need to end night shift. We don't want to end this season with any more things going wrong, in my opinion. So, health as first priority and just try to leave here with no more issues.
They've bet it all on gold, not just their finances, but their pride, their family name, and their personal worth. One of the hardest parts of mining, especially for the Hoffman family, is dealing with the constant sense of unpredictability. A good day can turn sour in minutes, and a promising site can turn up empty without warning. The Hoffmans know that all too well. They've faced heart-crushing setbacks, equipment failures that cost tens of thousands, misjudgments about mining locations, and sometimes just sheer bad luck. That kind of uncertainty is enough to drive anyone to give up. Yet the Hoffmans keep digging. Each new attempt, each return to the field, is an act of defiance against failure, a testament to their relentless hope. With Jack's steady hand guiding Todd and Hunter's hopes, they'll have to mix old wisdom with new ideas, or risk letting pride get in the way. Pushing limits for gold. It's fascinating and a little frustrating to watch them wrestle with these challenges. He has been burned so many times that you'd think he'd be done by now. But much like an athlete chasing one more win, he can't let go. His determination isn't just stubbornness, it's a need. He needs to prove that his instincts are right, that he knows what he's doing, that he can lead his family to something great. Each time he faces another obstacle, there's a visible struggle. Does he cut his losses or does he push forward? And more importantly, is he putting his family at unnecessary risk chasing this dream? Jack's been around long enough to understand what's at stake, and he's not afraid to voice his concerns when he thinks his son is veering off track. Jack's history with mining runs deep, and there's something profoundly emotional about watching him out there with his son and grandson. It's not just about gold for Jack, it's about the legacy he's built, the dreams he once had, and seeing if they can come true through the younger Hoffmans. He's a figure of both support and conflict, because while he believes in his son, he's also wary of risking too much. As viewers, we see the Hoffmans try different strategies, new equipment, and risky decisions, all in an attempt to finally strike it big. They've invested in machinery that's supposed to give them an edge, and they've scouted locations that promise good returns. Yet for all their preparations, mining is a gamble. A lot of it comes down to luck, whether or not they hit a rich vein, whether their equipment can handle the pressure, and whether they can sustain morale in the face of constant setbacks. What sets Hoffman Family Gold apart from its predecessor is how personal it feels. There's something very raw about seeing the Hoffmans out there, not just as miners, but as a family trying to find their way. He wants to be a good leader, but he also wants to be a good son and a good father. Balancing those roles is where the real struggle lies. Sometimes he makes the wrong call, and his family pays for it. Sometimes he pushes too hard, trying to prove himself, and it backfires.
Well, it's just not worth it either, because that's your investment. And I just hit it last night, the back of the hopper. Something else, worse could have happened, but I'm cross-eyed, and it's dark, and I just don't want to do it.
These aren't just professional setbacks. They're deeply personal, and they weigh on the entire family. Mining for gold has always been about the dream of hitting it big, of changing your life overnight. But for the Hoffmans, it's also about the path, the relationships, and the drive to never give up. They are constantly at the mercy of forces beyond their control: weather, equipment failures, even just the unpredictable nature of the ground beneath them. Yet despite all the reasons to quit, they keep pushing forward. That resilience is both admirable and, at times, baffling. There's a thin line between hope and desperation, and the Hoffmans walk it with every episode. The family dynamics are central to Hoffman Family Gold. Jack, his son, and Hunter each bring something unique to the table, and their differences often lead to clashes. Jack's wisdom and experience are valuable, but they sometimes clash with his son's desire to innovate and take risks. Hunter, meanwhile, is caught between respecting his elders and wanting to forge his own path. The result is a mix of conflict, cooperation, and growth. Watching them navigate these relationships while trying to dig gold out of the earth is what gives the show its heart. There's an emotional weight to every decision they make. When he decides to dig in a new area, it's not just about the gold. It's about proving to his dad that he's capable, showing his son that he can lead and convincing himself that all the past failures have led to this moment. When things go wrong, it's not just financial loss. It's a blow to their pride, their hope, and their belief in themselves. That's why the stakes feel so high. It's not just about money, it's about family, identity, and dreams. While the hope of finding gold keeps them going, it's working together as a family that really tests their patience and belief. Holding strong when the odds stack up. In every episode, there are moments of doubt, times when Todd questions whether he's doing the right thing. But just as often, there are moments of hope, a glimmer of gold in the pan, a successful day of digging, or even just a moment of laughter between father and son. All these little wins are enough to keep them going. It's these moments that make the show so compelling, that keep viewers coming back. We want to see them succeed, but more than that, we want to see them endure, to keep fighting no matter how hard it gets. There's also something inherently relatable about Todd's struggle. Who hasn't chased a dream, faced setbacks, and wondered if it was all worth it? Who hasn't felt the weight of expectations, both their own and those of the people around them? Todd's path, with all its ups and downs, feels like a reflection of the human condition. The desire to achieve something great, the fear of failure, and the hope that, despite everything, success is just around the corner. For Jack, the dream is about more than just money. It's about seeing his family carry on what he started, about leaving behind something meaningful. Jack has been mining for decades, and he's seen more failures than he'd care to count. But he's also seen moments of success, and that's what keeps him going. He wants to pass down his knowledge, to see Todd and Hunter succeed where he once struggled. There's a pride there, but also a vulnerability. Jack knows the risks, and he knows the pain of failure. Watching him put his trust in Todd, and seeing Todd try to live up to that trust, is one of the most powerful aspects of the show. Hunter, meanwhile, represents the future. He's not weighed down by the same past disappointments as his dad and grandfather. He's got a fresh perspective, and he's eager to prove himself. But he's also cautious, perhaps more so than Todd. He's seen what chasing the dream has cost his family, and he doesn't want to repeat those mistakes.
I need $1 million a season to break even. We're over 3/4 of the way there.
Okay.
Maybe 500 ounces. If the weather holds up, we ought to be okay. And I know you want a mine. I know you want it for your dad.
Hunter's presence adds a layer of complexity. He's both a source of hope and a reminder of what's at stake. He wants to succeed, but he also wants to protect his family from the kind of heartbreak they've faced in the past. The physical challenges of mining are intense, but the emotional challenges are even greater. Every day in the field is a test of patience, endurance, and faith. The Hoffmans are constantly facing obstacles, broken equipment, dwindling funds, and the sheer unpredictability of the earth beneath them. But the biggest challenge is staying hopeful, staying united, and believing that, despite all the setbacks, they can still find what they're looking for. For Todd, the path is deeply personal. He's not just trying to find gold, he's trying to prove something to himself, to his family, and to everyone who's ever doubted him. He's made mistakes, he's failed, and he's faced criticism. But he keeps coming back because giving up isn't an option. There's a part of him that needs to see this through, that needs to know that all the sacrifices, all the risks were worth it. And that's what makes Hoffman Family Gold more than just a show about mining. It's a story about resilience, about family, and about the relentless pursuit of a dream. Whether the Hoffmans strike it rich or walk away empty-handed, their path is what matters. It's the bond between father, son, and grandson, the lessons learned, and the moments shared. It's about facing challenges together, about holding on to hope even when everything seems lost. Todd, Jack, and Hunter are chasing more than just gold. They're chasing a dream, a legacy, and the belief that, no matter how many times they fall, they can always get back up and try again. Is Todd Hoffman's exit from Gold Rush just a dramatic move? Or is there something deeper driving him away from the show that made him famous? Share your thoughts on this surprising shift and let us know what you think. And remember to like and subscribe for more.